Hello and welcome to a video review for Robots in Disguise Optimus Prime. This is the 2001 Robots in Disguise Optimus Prime, so for those of you who were expecting the 2015 Optimus Prime, sorry. But really, compared to what I've seen on the internet, this is a much better figure. I got him for Christmas this year, and I'm really happy with him. In vehicle mode, he is a fire engine, and whilst I don't like Optimus as a fire engine, I think this vehicle actually works out well for him. As you can see, he's primarily red. He's got some gray and silver, which you could see from up top. He's got chromed rims and rubber tires, and not sure if you can make that out in the video. Well, maybe you can. But it says Fire Convoy on the tires. And Fire Convoy is what they called him in the Car Robots release in Japan. But this is the American version. How do I know? Well, there's an Autobot symbol on the sides of the engine. Well, on the sides of the truck. I'm sorry. I mixed up my words. We got steps up to the top of his ladder here. And speaking of his ladder, it does do a few things. Like, first things first, the ladder can extend. You can also move it up and down, and it also turns on this back axis. However, there is one issue, considering that the back half separates and breaks into several different components. This thing doesn't really stay on that well, at least when you try to move it. It's only held on by 2 standard-sized pegs. So, yeah. But really, considering what this toy does, it kind of makes sense that it would happen, but, you know, it's probably something that could have been fixed. But, anyway, back to the ladder for a moment. We have this button back here, and if you push on it, he deploys these rockets that are in his ladder. And, of course, these are spring-loaded, and if you push down on the trigger, they will in fact fire. And man, these springs, they're, for how old they are pretty damn powerful. They go a good 4 feet, which is pretty impressive. They could probably go back to about 5 feet. Word of advice, when you're putting the rockets away, start from the back and click them into place. Because if you do it like that, then here, let me show you. If you do it like that, it'll just push that one forward. So, but of course, I'm going to show you this one more time. If you push it real slow, hopefully I can do this, they'll come out one by one. That's pretty cool. Also, in the way of weapons, he has this water cannon up front. You just push back on this red button and they'll deploy. These, unfortunately, don't shoot missiles. If they could shoot water, that would have been pretty cool, but, you know, it's still a nice piece of detail. So, yeah. He also has lights and sounds. The button is in the center of the light bar, and if you push it, so, yep. He says Autobots transform, Optimus Prime maximize, and there are two different siren sounds. One where it's just a short siren blare, and the other is a longer siren blare. And with each of the voice clips, this light bar also lights up. The LEDs are actually within the joint, so yeah, that's pretty cool. The batteries, they're inserted in this compartment. It takes 2 AAAs, so yeah, just a little word of warning. I think that's about it for this form. Oh, I forgot to mention, he has some Japanese writing. I'm not sure what it says, but it also says Cybertron down here. Yeah, pretty cool. I can only name a handful of fire truck transformers, like Inferno and Hotspot from Generation 1. There's this guy. I guess you could also count Inferno from Energon as a fire truck. Yeah, that's about the handful that I can name right off the bat. But none of them are this well detailed. So, now that's done, let's get into the transformation. Now, believe it or not, to start off, we have to split this. Well, we have to pretty much rip the truck in half. Like that. Set all that back there, and believe it or not, this trunk is the whole robot. The rest is just either armor or base pieces, but we'll get to that later. If you come under here, you'll see we have a spare wheel, and that comes out to form his gun. Sorry about that. Anyway, so let's transform this chunk of robot. So first things first, we want to take the wheels and bring them forward like that, and grab the front end and just completely fold this out like that. Separate these sections and turn them forward. These will be the legs. Open up his calves and flip his feet out. Now you're going to want to make sure this gray panel that the feet are attached to, it comes all the way down, because this calf panel has these fins that are going to go right above it and click it into place. Like that. And then you want to fold his arms out. Shoot, I didn't explain it. You take this panel on the arm, you slide it forward, and which will slide out the hand, turn the elbow forward, and give it a bend. Give it a natural look. And the light bar, I like to just angle these up for the show accurate wings behind his head. Speaking of his head, all you have to do is sorry, I hit the button. Anyway, you slide the chest down and it'll expose his head. Speaking of his head, let's get in close here. It's a nice looking head. You know, this kind of reminds me of one of those Zentai masks where they had a hole for your face to poke through. Looks nice. And this is cool. Like, his antenna, you can twist his antenna and they're linked, so if you turn one, the other will correspond with it. So yeah, it's pretty cool. You can angle the antenna however you want. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And the eyes, some people think that they're red. They're actually more of a metallic orange. But speaking of metallic red, we have some on the chest, and we have some regular chrome on the abs. as you can see, or maybe you can't see it, but there's a few chips or scuffs. But you know, surprisingly, it's actually in good condition. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Nice looking robot right there. He's also very poseable. Head can go all the way around, look up and down. Arm, 360. Can go out, bend at the elbow, turn at the elbow. His hands actually do turn, but the joints are a bit tight, and the hands are really hard to grasp. He actually has a waist rotation, which is pretty cool. He doesn't... Oops. Some people may say that he has an ab crunch, but that only sinks his head, so... His legs can go forward, they can go back, go out, bend at the knee, turn at the lower part of the leg, and his feet has some serious action going on. It's on a ball joint, so yeah, you could pose the hell out of this thing. Got him into a pretty cool little pose. And this little hose here is his gun. Yeah, I don't know who has a smaller gun, him or the Optimus Prime, but you know, fits into his hand, and that is a dinky pistol. But you know, at least he has a gun, so he can protect himself. Yeah. So, yeah. He's about the size of an Ultra in this form. Let's see. Here he is with his Classics incarnation. He's a whole head taller. Jeez. Here he is with his arch nemesis Megatron, who is actually shorter than Prime. That's funny because usually the bad guys are taller than the good guys. You know, make the good guys into underdogs or something. But yeah, Optimus is pretty tall, so maybe he can take care of himself. Anyway. Now, for the rest of this, remember the Power Master Optimus Prime? Well, this figure can do a lot of the same things that Power Master can, except there's no Power Master. And, well, his trailer is a parts former, so... But that could be just an element from God Bomber. So let's go to the base form. You'll want to break these panels off. Well, not exactly break, but just detach them. And, oh, man. It's a mushroom peg that goes into a clip, so it's pretty stiff. Jeez. Anyway, you're going to want to flip these pieces out, fold the wheels in, and then bring them out the rest of the way. You bring the ladder up. Oh, you're also going to want to deploy the water cannons and bend it forward. And fold these side railings forward as well. Just a bit of detail that may seem pointless, but it actually looks good. Now for this piece, you're going to want to open these two sides up, turn the gun forward, turn this hand-looking piece forward, and position it like it's a gun of some sort. And you're going to want to peg that on there, and then peg this right here. And that's one side. The other side, just do the same thing. And come on. There we go. And we have the base mode. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like that. As far as bases go, this isn't that bad. Now, if you want, you can raise the ladder up and make it taller, but really, there's no point. Really, it's a nice looking base. Already a lot of value for your dollar. Of course, if you want, you can store the gun right here. You know, just when he's not using it. But that's not all. You can take all this apart. You can actually split these, and these pods can actually peg onto the shoulders and be missile pylons or something. Like, we have a hole right here, there's a peg on the shoulder, and you just peg that into place. Oops. But of course, it'd be a lot easier if I looked at what I was doing. And of course, it looks goofy, but trust me, when you have missile pods like this, you can definitely take care of yourself. But of course, that's not all. You can actually put all this stuff on him and form a super mode. And a lot of people like to call it the Megazord mode or something. Kind of makes sense, except I don't really know what a Megazord looks like. I'm not really into Power Rangers, to tell the truth. Which is funny because that's what the Robots in Disguise Transformers kind of look like. Well, according to reviews that I've seen. Anyway, lost my train of thought. Anyway, so what you want to do is you want to open this gray panel and bring this shin guard out. Open this thing like that, and of course we got a hole in the shin and a hole in the bottom of the foot. We got a peg in the base of this pod here, and we got a peg inside the shin guard. You peg the foot in, put the peg in the hole, peg in hole, and it's like wearing military combat boots. Reshape this thing. We got two holes right here. We got two pegs on the forearm. Plug it in, and he's got his fire knuckles. Ooh, fire knuckles. How deadly does that sound? Fire knuckles. Again, pegs, and holes on the forearm. The pegs in the holes. Plug it in. Yeah. Now, you're going to want to extend the arms and put the shoulder pieces on. Some people do it like this, but I like to do it where the silver part is facing forward. Or at least that's how I do it. Okay, so we have that going on. It's already looking super already. Anyway, you want to fold the light bar down. Oh. Something was falling over there, so. And then you take this piece. You're going to want to reconfigure it. Fold this waist crotch guard piece down. Got the super helmet. Oops. And the gun fell off. Did I say gun fall off or gun fell off? Doesn't matter. This is a great review, isn't it? Isn't it? Anyway, fold the ladder back, fold this up, and that's ready to go. For Optimus, raise his chest. Yeah, you'll end up doing that. You got 3 pegs down here, and we have this clip. The chest has 2 slots in it, and the upper body has 3 pegs on top. So, put the pegs in the holes. But of course, it's easier to see what it is easier if you can see what you are doing. Much unlike myself. Man, maybe my hand's in the way. Come on. Hold on. And there we go. Okay. So I got it pegged in on top. And of course, clip, slots, fold that down, clip it into place, and then you can push the shoulders in. And of course, you can, if you want, compress the spine a little bit, just so the waist piece is covered. And there you go. We have Fire Convoy, or Optimus Prime, in his super mode, battle mode, or whatever you want to call it. Man. Some of the joints are stiff. The hip joints are a little loose, but it's not the end of the world. Or is it? Just kidding. Anyway. So, he's not that posable in this form because, you know, pieces, they make him bulky and they limit some of his articulation. He doesn't have the ball-jointed ankles anymore, but the hands are now easier to move, and you can actually move the thumb. The thumb is articulated. Yay! Also, under this patch on the right side of his chest with the Autobot symbol on it, I guess this is supposed to be the Matrix, but it looks more like a chest gun, and this thing on the inside of the chest, it kind of looks like a targeting sight or something, but, you know, it's a nice detail. I kind of like this whole bandolier thing. So, also, you can, if you want, move this up, you can actually flip this whole thing around, deploy the water cannons, and deploy the rockets, and kind of give him like a, well, maybe move that out of the way so I can get the arm up. Yeah. Give him a over-the-shoulder bazooka. That looks great, I think. Oh, man. There we go. So, pull this back and out of the way. So, yeah. This guy has lights and sounds, a lot of features, a lot of play value. I think something was coming unpegged. There we go. I think I got it. Oh, boy. So let's take a look at the super head. Kind of looks like a firefighter helmet, if you ask me. Also, his antenna can rotate just like in his regular robot mode. But, you know, I prefer to keep them up because, well, personally, I like my Optimi to have helmets with antenna. So, yep. So, yeah. Now this figure came out in 2001. This mold is about 15 years old, more or less, and I like it. Is the figure any good? Yes. Does the figure look good? I think so. Is this figure worth the money you're paying for it? Well, he was originally $30, last I remembered, and the stores that, well, the collectible shops that I've seen this guy, they were selling him for like $60. Considering how old he is, it kind of makes sense. But like I said, I got this as a Christmas gift. I like him. I think he's worth it. If you see this guy on eBay or some toy site or at a collectible shop, he's totally worth getting. I give the truck mode an 8 out of 10. I give the robot mode a 9 out of 10. And I give this mode a 9.5 out of 10. Why a 9.5 instead of a perfect 10? Well, this thing has a tendency to cause back heaviness, and some of the armor doesn't really like to stay on all that well. So, I think this would average out to probably a 9 out of 10. So, yeah, he's definitely worth the big bucks that you're spending to get him. If you see this guy at a collectible shop or on any toy selling site, he's totally worth the big bucks. So, yep. Until next time, guys. Thank you for watching.